A political storm has erupted as Will Smith has criticized Donald Trump, sparking widespread discussions. Like a verbal bomb, his remarks have stirred the public, prompting reflection on the motives and consequences of this unexpected outburst. The actor emphasized that America, despite its flaws, remains the only place where he can realize his potential. Criticism of those who call for building walls and imposing religious bans only fuels his desire to continue working for the benefit of the country. Donald Trump has once again found himself in the spotlight, but this time not because of legal labyrinths or the peculiar handling of classified documents. A new, unexpected rival from the world of show business has appeared on the political scene, Will Smith. A recent interview with Smith has sparked a wave of discussions about his possible presidential candidacy. While previous statements like those from Kanye West were not taken seriously, this time there was a certain seriousness in the actor's words. Smith spoke about the influence that working on a new film and communicating with Dr. Ramallah had on him. Dr. Ramallah's memories of childhood in Nigeria, where America was seen as the place where God sends his chosen ones, deeply touched the actor and made him rethink the meaning of the American dream and the possibility of its realization. Will Smith, whose name is now firmly associated with the high-profile incident at the Oscars ceremony, does not seem to be stopping there in the art of shocking. While the phrase "keep my wife's name out of your mouth" has already entered the annals of the most quoted lines of our time, the actor has set his sights on something more than just a verbal skirmish. Smith's recent statement about possibly running for president of the United States has had a bombshell effect in political circles. Donald Trump, accustomed to fierce competition, seems to be stunned by this turn of events. In response to a question about her hypothetical initiative as First Lady, the actor's partner stated with disarming candor her unwillingness to hold the position. She emphasized that her priority is education, thereby hinting at the seriousness of her intentions should such a scenario become a reality. However, Will Smith himself was quick to reassure the public that he has no serious political ambitions. His words sounded more like a joke than a real declaration of intent, leaving the public puzzled as to the actor's true motives. The statement, which sounded like a joke, sparked a wave of discussions. The question of whether an opponent could cope with the pressure of Donald Trump in debates was raised in an ironic vein. Given Trump's reputation as a tough and uncompromising polemicist capable of direct and sharp attacks, this framing of the question seems quite appropriate. The suggestion of a possible clash between Smith and Trump in debates caused a stir. Trump, known for his love of loud and scandalous confrontations, views them as a kind of reality show. However, interest in such spectacles has been declining lately, and paraphernalia with Trump's symbols are no longer in demand. This time, Trump may have underestimated his potential opponent. Will Smith is not just a celebrity trying to attract attention. He is a superstar, a man whom Trump once invited to his lavish parties. However, after 2016, celebrities apparently stopped responding to Trump's invitations. Will looked at him and slapped him. Will Smith's triumph became a moment of truth, an impulse that made many think about the limits of what is permissible and how long society will tolerate the antics of certain figures. The actor's act, like a bolt from the blue, sparked a storm of discussion and forced a revision of established norms. It seems that Will Smith, like many, has reached a boiling point, tired of the endless performance staged by Donald Trump. From extravagant political maneuvers to blatant self-praise and disregard for the truth, Trump has turned the political arena into a circus where the rules of decency and common sense seem to have ceased to apply. And when patience snapped, Will Smith declared his disagreement, and when the Fresh Prince speaks, the world pauses to hear his words. After all, let's be honest, Trump's entire empire is built on the foundation of an obsessive desire to be the loudest voice in the crowd. It doesn't matter how meaningless his statements are, the main thing is to create noise, attract attention at any cost. Recall his promise to run the country like his own company. Well, the goal has been achieved. He has bankrupted it, like his many failed projects such as Trump Steaks, Trump University, and every casino that had the misfortune to bear his name. And if there's one thing Trump fears more than fading into obscurity, it's being exposed by someone with genuine authority and influence. The scandalous incident involving Will Smith triggered a reaction in Donald Trump akin to the panic of someone dodging a subpoena. Despite his ostentatious disdain for Hollywood, it's worth remembering his active attempts to become part of that industry before his political career. Returning to Will Smith's statements, it's worth noting that his words about feeling ashamed of his American identity because of Donald Trump's statements resonated widely. However, the task is not to justify the actor's words. Will Smith, as a Hollywood actor, has the right to his own opinion and is not obliged to report to the American people or meet political standards as, for example, Donald Trump. In general, the practice of actors expressing opinions about political candidates is not new. The question is why so much attention is paid to this, given that such situations, although painful, are not something out of the ordinary. The actor delved into memories of the TV show The Apprentice, where Donald Trump presented dismissals as something inspiring, creating an image of a successful businessman. It was like a raccoon posing as a Michelin-starred chef just because he confidently rummages through the trash. But Will Smith didn't fall for this trick. He immediately recognized the falsehood because Trump's presidency was one endless reality show where the host forgot the script and the participants, that is, the Americans, only hoped to survive another round of elimination. American ideals and values made America the only place where the actor could exist. No other country would have given him such an opportunity. Therefore, talk about walls and unconstitutional religious bans only inspires him and reminds him of the work ahead. Such a development of events is not destined to come true. Society will not succumb to the power of base instincts. Fear is a natural feeling, however, as the example of Dr. O'Malley shows, the greatness of the American people is manifested in the ability to rise above it, turning to the best qualities of the soul. Donald Trump, meanwhile, is desperately trying to maintain a semblance of calm, which, given the peculiarities of his appearance, is not an easy task. His face, as if painted in an unnatural orange hue, raises legitimate questions. Isn't the secret of such a specific tan in the promotions of a Florida salon offering customers a pumpkin skin tone? However, let's get back to the point. Trump pretends that what is happening is just routine, as if his public criticism from famous Hollywood actors is commonplace. But this is just a mask. It is well known that this man is capable of unleashing angry posts on unwanted media at 3 in the morning, once called his appearance in the movie Home Alone 2 the greatest cinematic achievement, and probably keeps compromising material on all the celebrities who have ever dared to ridicule him. And this archive is probably located next to secret government documents. Frankly speaking, Donald Trump is very sensitive to criticism. Even the least flattering review of Trump Tower on Yelp can cause him a storm of indignation, let alone public ridicule from famous personalities. It's easy to imagine him, irritated, walking around his Mar-a-Lago residence, sipping a Diet Coke and demanding that his assistants immediately prepare a response which, however, should not resemble a schoolboy's angry tirade. But the real source of insomnia for Trump is not so much the barbs of Hollywood stars, but the close attention of the tax authorities, numerous lawsuits, and, of course, the fear of possible liability. And, perhaps, the scariest thing for him is the need to read a whole page of text that does not contain a single picture. It is worth noting that Trump willingly distributes critical remarks left and right, but when it comes to himself, he suddenly turns into a victim of circumstances. The scenario is always the same. After the exposure, there is a violent reaction on social networks and the invariable accusations against Hillary Clinton, windmills, or the deep state. If whining was included in the Olympic Games program, then Trump would have more gold medals than the famous swimmer Michael Phelps. Consider his favorite trick, doubling the stakes. Even if he was caught off guard eating ice cream straight from the container, he would state with unwavering confidence that this was just a carefully planned provocation behind which the FBI, ice cream manufacturers, and, possibly, even Oprah Winfrey were standing. His ability to turn reality into a conspiracy theory that is beneficial to him almost inspires admiration if it weren't so tiring. He never admits fault, preferring to portray himself as a misunderstood hero fighting against imagined injustice. And his devoted followers eagerly listen to his every word as if it were their last chance to be filled with some kind of truth. At some point, everyone deserves the right to make a mistake, right? Therefore, he intends to take risks, creating bold and extraordinary works, even if not all of them are successful. While Donald Trump continues to spew angry tirades on social media platforms that haven't yet banned him, Will Smith is actively working, starring in movies, creating content, and generally maintaining his relevance in the entertainment world. Donald Trump, as if stuck in a loop, continues to harp on about the supposedly stolen election, reminding one of a poker player who loses time after time but blames a rigged deck. He seems incapable of acting otherwise than by playing the victim card even when no game is being played. This is a man who, upon spilling his drink, accuses everyone of conspiracy and demands justice, provoking only universal eye-rolling. His behavior has become so predictable that you could set your watch by it: criticism, denial of guilt, lamentations, repetition. One could paraphrase a well-known song, "Hey, Mr. Trump, how are you doing?" His speeches sometimes resemble a chaotic stream of consciousness, as in the case of the offer to Will Smith. "Hey, listen, you have a great house here, and it's quite a deal for you. Want another 50 grand? I'll mow your lawn every Saturday." And suddenly, as if catching himself, he interrupts himself. "Listen, guys, before we go too far, I have to tell you something. Sorry, but I have to tell you something first." A certain Ashley, whose name is now inextricably linked to personal drama, has unwittingly become a catalyst for heated public discussions. And how can one not recall the devoted fans of Donald Trump, whose reaction to the statements of Hollywood stars sometimes resembles a well-staged performance? They insist with enviable persistence that they are indifferent to the opinions of the Dream Factory, but as soon as a celebrity supports a point of view they dislike, a serious battle breaks out. All means are used, from angry comments on social networks to calls for boycotts of movies and TV series. It seems that these people live by the principle, if a star doesn't sing the praises of our ideals, then they'd better be silent. Such selectivity is especially amusing, considering that Donald Trump himself was probably a big fan of Will Smith not so long ago. One can imagine him, to the sounds of Summertime from the speakers of a golf cart cutting through the expanses of Mar-a-Lago, talking about his strong friendship with the actor. After all, in Trump's world, mentioning big names is sometimes valued more than sincere human relationships. But as soon as Will Smith expressed his position, yesterday's idol instantly turned into a major disappointment and a complete disaster. Such a metamorphosis clearly demonstrates how fragile relationships built on political expediency can be. And how aptly it was noted, the use of the word cleanse in this context is of particular interest and makes one think about the hidden meanings that are invested in it. The use of this word evokes associations with religious fanaticism, especially in the context of calls to cleanse the country of supporters of Donald Trump. Such statements directed against dissenters cause alarm and rejection. Observations show that outside the United States, particularly in Europe, the political battles in America cause bewilderment and disappointment. The scheme is as old as the hills. Trump provokes, opponents respond, and now he is in the role of victim complaining about injustice. This vicious circle has become the hallmark of his political style. How will Trump react to a figure of Will Smith's stature? Most likely, he will resort to proven methods, insults, name-calling, and absurd accusations like a broken record. It is possible that in his social network Truth Social he will erupt in another tirade in the spirit of "It's very sad." Lately, one can hear the opinion that Will Smith, once shining on the screens, is not having the best of times today, and his past merits are greatly exaggerated. However, if you look at the facts, the question arises, does Donald Trump really believe that he is able to unbalance a man who has remained one of Hollywood's highest-grossing actors for decades? Smith's career has had its ups and downs, but he has always found the strength to come back. After the failure of Wild Wild West, many predicted his oblivion, but he managed to restore his reputation and once again win the hearts of viewers. Even after the devastating criticism of After Earth, his career did not end. Hollywood is a cruel world where competition is ruthless and many do not withstand the test of fame and success. However, Will Smith not only survived but also thrived. He has starred in iconic films, received prestigious awards, and even the infamous incident with Chris Rock at the Oscars couldn't break him. Does anyone seriously think Will Smith is losing sleep over the barbed remarks of a man who once dared to stare directly at a solar eclipse? More likely, he's just brushing them off as insignificant noise amidst his triumphs. Donald Trump, like a phoenix, rises from the ashes when his opponents panic, but Will Smith is a figure hardened by years in the cutthroat world of Hollywood. He has been at the top of the celebrity lists since the early 90s and is no stranger to backlash. If the situation becomes critical, Smith only needs to remind the public of the scandalous tapes from The Apprentice or Trump's other numerous transgressions to end the dispute before it even begins. Trump may spew angry tirades, but Will Smith isn't just another political punching bag. He's a man who has weathered Hollywood's most devastating blows and emerged victorious. Compared to Hollywood storms, Trump's tired attacks seem like a light breeze. Ultimately, this is just another illustration of how Trump's inflated ego takes a painful hit and he desperately tries to regain control of the situation. He strives to be the main character in every story, but sometimes he becomes the object of ridicule. And let's be honest, that's what hurts him the most. Because, despite all his billions, perceived power, and an army of supporters mainly consisting of Facebook commenters named Brenda, Trump craves Hollywood's recognition. And it's safe to say the coveted award will forever elude him. Will Smith's slap was a resounding reminder of that. And for Donald Trump, that probably feels more painful than his film's box office failures, accusations of financial fraud, or the bitter realization that his hairstyle will never look natural. It is quite likely that he will face serious professional consequences. Admittedly, it takes considerable courage to so shamelessly expose oneself to public view while being him. However, I don't think he should be surprised by this. These stories happen again and again. That's why Republicans working in Hollywood have to hold secret meetings, hiding them from prying eyes. They gather in a small circle to discuss pressing issues. Some of them have even spoken openly about it while sitting on a couch in a television studio. Of course, they will deny everything. They even have their secret signs. Elizabeth Warren often talked about this, even on television before she left. She noted that the situation in Hollywood is different from other spheres, and even working in New York, she encountered similar phenomena. This happens everywhere. Hollywood has always been an unattainable dream for Donald Trump, a kind of white whale he has unsuccessfully chased. He tried to break into it through the television show The Apprentice, hoping that the reality format would open doors to the world of movie stars. However, instead, the project turned him into a circus performer. Trump craved recognition from the Hollywood elite, but in return, he received only strained photo ops and polite condescension, after which he was immediately forgotten. Even his lavish parties at Mar-a-Lago look like a desperate attempt to win the favor of those who will never accept him into their circle. And now Will Smith, one of the brightest representatives of the Hollywood Olympus, has confirmed what everyone already knows. Trump is an outsider not because he is a fighter against the system, but because he is simply unpleasant to most people. He is not feared, he is not admired, he is not even taken seriously. He's just an annoying guest who constantly tries to crash someone else's party. And no matter how much Trump likes to hurl insults, deep down he is most hurt by the realization that the chosen ones will never let him become one of them. What's next? Most likely, viewers will see another stream of disjointed statements, a dramatic repetition of the thesis of a lack of recognition, and another demonstration of the futility of trying to buy authority with money. Will Smith, like no other, understands this, remaining a Hollywood legend. Donald Trump, in turn, can only boast that his late-night feast becomes nothing more than the Fresh Prince from the nearest diner.